Hello and welcome back. This is Hearthside, episode 22. I'm going to show you around and show you what I did in between episodes, and we will talk it out on what we're aiming for. And we'll try to get this factory started up, this centerpiece factory started up as soon as possible. So, there was a vote to keep the mini-map and the podzol, so we're going to keep it for now, and if anybody else has any opinions on it, we will go from there. So, here's a lava train that will pull lava from the nether, and we have a conductor on it. The conductors are a little more complicated to set up, so I suggest if you're wanting a bunch of them, they can do all sorts of things. So I would suggest doing a full setup for those conductor hats. Let me show you how they work. You will cut some wool with a straw and deploy a precision mechanism and then a piece of string onto that, and it will make like a red or blue or pink conductor's hat. Then you throw that onto a andesite casing, and boop, you'll have one of these guys. They can be leashed, they can be pulled around. They can also do, if you take a look at the whistle, we're going to get a brass nugget, and we'll make one of those. And you can see, not bound, used on a conductor riding a train to bind. So I'll use this on him, and then we will get him started on going back and forth through the nether. So, I have this set up right here, where I'll be pulling from that train into this, and we'll be spouting lava onto this, which is where our eventual blaze cake factory will lead into, is there, and it will spout it into there. So far, I mean, we may change that setup up a little bit. Now here in the nether, you saw that space I cleared out? I also did this side in here. You can see, you can stand next to soul fires, and they will keep you cool. So I'm using that wheel and a few different things to pull from this bottomless supply down here. I'll make this look nicer. In fact, I do want it to come up quite a bit, but we'll have to work with that and pull lava into this and deposit a whole lot of lava into it. But for now, we're just pulling it out, and we're going to pull it through here. So we've got a train station set up called Lava Pickup, and we'll have another train station set up out here called Lava Drop Off. So let's drive the train through, and then stop it where it needs to be and place our station. And there we are. It's pulling lava out and into this right now. And the reason we have this fluid container is just because I want to be able to quickly access and move through a bunch of lava into our train, which is over there. It is kind of slow though, like very slow on this side. In fact, I may fix that. There, that all looks much, much nicer. And look, it's getting it into our train. Wonderful. I will make this train look a little bit nicer. It's just the basics for now. So here is our first stop. And we'll let that move through. Now let's set up on the other side a setup much like this to push lava into where we're storing it at the end of the blaze cake factory. And I think I'm going to change this setup as well a little bit. For now, we're just going to use water wheels to power this, but later, once we get that steam engine self-sufficient and running, we're going to create optical and just shoot power up above. And there we are. We're moving lava into that so that it can be deposited onto the blaze cakes. And there we are. Now, lava pickup. And then lava drop off. And we're going to set a different condition. Fluid cargo condition. More than 10 buckets. Yes, that should do. And then we'll also say exactly 0 buckets on the drop off. And let's see how that goes. Here you go, little guy. And then he's gonna go through and boop, disappear there. And he'll go and pick up more than 10 buckets. Come back through. and deposit it until it's 0. So it might take a little bit, because he has quite a bit in there. Now for the next things to work on. Honestly, I think I'm going to put farmland and such on this side, because we're going to need it. Let's take a look at our blaze cakes. Specifically the base. We're going to need sugar, cinder flour, and it says applesauce here, but you can also use silken tofu. And silken tofu has a lot more processes to it. You have to get soy milk, salt, bowls, and water. I think this will look more interesting when we're done, because I do want kind of a big brownstone brick sort of look. Big brownstone piece sitting here on this side that has the lava being pumped into it, and then maybe the blaze cakes being thrown over here or otherwise handed off to power the steam engine, which will in turn power everything else. So I am so excited to get working on that. Let's talk it out. I know we need a sugarcane factory. We are going to need a cinder flour factory, or a piece of the factory, and then we're going to need, of course, that silken tofu factory. So the salt is interesting. The soy milk is, of course, combining soybeans and water, so that's not going to be too difficult. But what is going to be interesting is extracting salt. Salt is made using a water bucket and just cooking it in a cooking pot, and it will give you some salt. Just straight out. You don't need bowls, you don't need anything else. It just takes 10 seconds, you get some salt. So I am excited to combine all of this and just kind of make a crazy, big, weird piece instead of the and multi-step piece. So let's get started on that. First off, we need a sugarcane factory. And of course, a sugarcane farm is relatively easy. We could always go with the round farms like we have been doing. And I think that's what we're going to do for all of the crops. So I'm going to have maybe a tower of glass, like we usually do, like we did with the library. Towers of glass that feed all of the soybeans, all of the sugarcane, all of our cinder, our nether essences, because that's something we're going to be using to make ourselves cinder flour that is consistent. Because we just need nether essence to make netherrack. Then we'll be crushing that netherrack and using all of the resources, the cinder flour from that crushed netherrack. So let's get started on all the plants. We need, of course, sugar, nether essence, and soybeans. I have soybeans already. We're going to grab our sugarcane. And we need to make nether essence. So we need nether seeds, and that means we need prudentium essence and nether agglomeration. We've got the stuff to make that. Netherrack, soul sand, nether bricks, and nether wart, we've got it. We'll make quite a bit of that. And then we need prudentium essence. So, let's grab quite a bit. And let's use our tempad and head back. We'll make a few nether seeds up in our little seed maker area place. And I will be at this for just a minute, so we'll be right back. Right, so we've returned with 9 nether seeds, so that helps. And we've got a whole bunch of prudentium essence and a little bit more of the nether agglomeration. But that's all of the types of essences or food we're going to need. Fuel for this thing, however you want to put it. I think at the top story of this, we're definitely going to want these soybeans, because the soybeans have to go through quite a few processes to become the soy milk that we're going to need. Honestly, I don't need the back to be that big if I'm only getting 10 buckets of lava, but we will work on that later. For now, let's get some fields up. Let's see if I have any podzol. I have exactly 1 podzol. Sad. How do I make that? Ooh, I've got dirt essence and nature essence. We'll make some more podzol. And when I run out of that, we'll switch over to grass, okay? And I kind of want this... I was thinking of having it be multi-story, but maybe because I want this to stand out really, really well. This piece, when it gets done, I want it to be large and ridiculous looking. So I'm thinking maybe instead of a multi-story building, we have a winding, big kind of U-shaped building and make it a one-story. Right, so that means I kind of want the fields to be evident too. I would like all three of them to be out here. So let's do something funny. We're gonna go here and we're just going to mirror once along the Z. Oh, and by the way, I put an auto smelting piece on my backpack and I have been smelting deep slate. That is for train tunnels and we're using charcoal, but when we run out of charcoal, we will use these logs, these fir logs, because I have a bunch of them from cutting them down along the rail line. And we're just gonna make charcoal and such in the backpack. So yes, I have a lot of insanely useless tools, insanely useful tools, and food. A lot of food with just tons of eggs, because I had a chicken back in Urnshire that was just laying eggs with my chameleons. With our chameleons. And yeah, so I'm not going to run out of food anytime soon. So let's make some circle gardens out here. Ooh, and let me show you the whistle now that the train is gone. Does it only work in the overworld? Does it work on the dimension that I'm in? Because that's what it seems like. I'm clicking it. So I think we'll start out with the sugarcane. And of course with sugarcane you need an interesting setup, right? I think I'm going to go with sand for our sugarcane farm. I know it doesn't grow faster on it. I just like the look. We're going to go with the mechanical bearing. And we'll do a water wheel underneath, again, just for now. We'll be removing all of this machinery. And there we are, except I forgot to add a chest to that. It looks like you can't just use regular harvesters with sugarcane. We need to move the harvesters up. And there we are. Sugarcane will be gathered. Next up, nether seeds. We're going to need Prudentium farmland for this. And there we are, nether essence. That will have to be put into mechanical crafters and changed into netherrack and then crushed. Right, so we have all of our basics. And now we're going to have to build the building that they go into. I could, of course, have a tower of these. I could. But I kind of like the 3 rotating farms right out here. So, right, so that did not work out because the silken tofu is a very complicated and huge process. And I think I'm going to break down that process later and have a kind of very nice health district and concerned about the planet and all sorts of things. But right now, I think I'm going to take this one out and move these farms, and we're going to go with chicken eggs instead. And I have a really cute idea for that. So, let's get working on it. You know, for the moment, I could make a tree farm and then have a mechanical arm feed those some things, feed them logs. It's definitely a thought. To just get it started and get it to where I can create optical with it. I'm thinking I might do that because it'll help me figure out the exact way I want to set up my farm. So, and this of course will get bigger. I want to get the highest steam output we can from one engine, and then I want to put a whole bunch of other engines on it because that sounds fun to me. So, we've got water, we've got heat, but we do not have enough heat. So, we've got a tree farm over there, and if we just flung wood over to where a mechanical arm was waiting over here, we could get that started. I think I'm going to go this goofy, strange little way for a minute. So we're going to go here, and this is where the mechanical arm is going to sit. There we go. One of them just flew over there. Let's see if it retrieves it. Oh, it would retrieve it if I had it powered. And there we go. And it is fed. The next one that comes over will also be fed. And here we go. Our boiler is leveling up and then slowing down, and then leveling up and then slowing down. Wonderful. We're sitting at a level 4. And it'll keep going, and apparently until it runs out of wood. And it will, not until it runs out of wood. When they stop going, and drop in boiler status. There we go. I'm gonna need to make this bigger. I'm gonna need to make it bigger. But first, create optical. Let's look into what that means. I am excited. I am excited. So it looks like the first thing we need is an optical source. So we've got new stuff here. We've got a polarizing filter and we've got an optical device. So let's see what all of this means. They transform rotational power into light, which I'm so excited about. The receptors can receive the light. Now, tinted glass, non-transparent blocks, and entities can block that light. So it's going to be more like power lines. You don't put anything in the way of power lines. We're going to need an optical source, and we do not have an optical device. So what's that made out of? Oh, many a thing. It is made out of an amethyst shard that has an iron sheet deployed on it, and then a piece of glass, and then some water spouted on it, and it needs to be processed in a press. Well, this sounds like a job for our Yernshire workshop. So, first things first, I'm glad I gathered some amethyst shards. All 2 of them. We've got some amethyst essence here. Wonderful. So, if I remember right, the first thing we've got to deploy onto this is an iron plate. I don't know how many of these we'll need, so I'm just going to start off with a few. Next up is glass. Alright, we're going to need a few buckets of water. Oh goodness, and you have to do this a bunch of times, it looks like. Woo! So, last part, process in the press. Bonk. Wonderful, we've got 1 optical device. Now I have to do that 4 more times. Everyone, look at my stupid airship. Look at it. Why? I anchored you, and you just decide you want to be cockeyed out there? Look at it. Make fun of it. The Purple Menace. And there we are. 5 optical devices. Wonderful. What's the next thing? A polarizing filter. That needs tinted glass that's had water spouted onto it, and then it needs to be processed in a press, and it needs to have that happen 5 times. Well, this is an interesting series. Absolutely, of just things to do. I've got 1 thing of tinted glass already. I'm gonna need to get more, so let's see how we do that. And there we go, we got 5 of them. Right, so we have all those pieces. And we're gonna toss them into our storage. And we're gonna start off with 1 optical source. And 1 optical receiver. And it's a good thing we made more optical devices, but what's with this copper coil here? Oh! I have to put an andesite alloy and deploy a copper sheet, spout lava, and process it in a press. And I need to do that 8 times. These are intense recipes! I am excited. Oh no, and after all of that, it turned to a copper sheet. Well, add it to the list. I'm gonna make 5 of these as well, I think. And I think that's number 5. Let's check. Yes. Wonderful. We have a few different coils. Rose quartz catalyst coil. Oh, we will figure that out later. Before we get too excited, though, we gotta make these receivers. Or at least, I'm gonna make 2 of them, for now. And we're wanting the polarizing beam splitter block, I think. So we need mirrors, which means we need a glass plane, which means we need a glass pane, and to squirt water on it, and process it in a press, and we need to do that 5 times. This is heavily locked by how much you have to do, but that is perfectly fine. I only want 1, so we're just gonna do 1 glass pane or 2, and have that available to us. And that will give us a mirror. Actually, we need to do a bunch of them. We need to do at least 4, and 1 of them might break, so we'll see. That went more painlessly than I thought it would. Right, so we're going to test out with this optical source, these 2 optical receivers, and this polarizing beam splitter. And we're going to find out what we can do with that, because I have an idea. The last time I had an idea, I worked for 2 days and got nothing done. But we'll try this anyway. We're heading to New City. Whoop. I still gotta generate a name for that. But if anybody has any ideas or has something that they like... Oh, this is still going. We have a level 4. Very simply. So you could actually just do a tree farm and easily handle it. Then again, these spruce are not growing. I don't know why. I think some of them want to grow in a 4x4, which would be fine if they did, but they gotta actually grow. I'm hoping they do because I would like some more podzol in this area. I got a few people who like it, which is fair. Right, so I was doing something. We've got this moving stupidly fast. I might grab some gearboxes and shift that power upwards. Then we'll grab some shafts, and then we'll put another vertical gearbox on top of there. And we've got visible light. The propagation range is 64 blocks, and it's going straight that way. That's why we're going to put this polarizing beam splitter somewhere. Right there. Oh. Okay, so it brought it down. We've got visible light, propagation of 64 blocks. Okay, so it's not projecting it diagonally, which is something I probably should have expected. And we can see that it really wants to catch this tree on fire. Made it. All right. So let me see what happens when we interrupt it with this Mabapi, this receiver. First, we're just going to pull it out here so that I can see what it does. Boop. Ah! And it splits it 2 ways. It's kind of like a shaft here. Interesting. Okay, that means I can do something different than what I was going to do. A little bit, but only a little bit. Wonderful. Good to know, good to know, good to know. Oh man, this is so exciting. I wonder if I can change that beam color. I bet I can. I bet if I put a glass pane or something right in front of that, I bet it changes the beam color because it's visible light. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. And that's only until we can start feeding this machine ourselves with blaze cakes. But also, I will want these all over the place, so I'm very excited about it. Wonderful. We will just have to work around this for now and make our 2 farms that we're going to need off to the sides, as well as a center point. I think I might just encase all of this machinery up to an acceptable point on either side. Yes. Yes, I do want a red floor. Now for the gardens, we are going to have these rotated with mechanical bearings, maybe? There we go. We have 2 farms that will be converging into this building. And on the inside is where we're going to deal with all of the craziness. Into here. The sugarcane will be ground into sugar, so that's really, really easy. But these nether essences need to be taken and put into mechanical crafters. So, now, what's going to emerge from that is netherrack, because we're going to be combining all of these netherrack essences and such to automatically craft up. Head to the back, connect all of these separate inventories on the outside only. I wonder if you can do crushing wheels right below. I think you may have to do a inventory. So we're going to put that underneath, put our crushing wheels here, and another chute below them. And then we'll be able to take the cinder flower wherever we need to take it. Which is probably towards the middle, but we'll talk it out. I think that's going to be much more visually interesting than what I was starting out with. And, like, visible, because it was clogged up in all sorts of stuff before. So, next up, pretty simple on our sugar and sugar cane. We just need to take that to a grindstone, honestly. I think we may stick it on a belt, drop it in a grindstone, and then transfer it to wherever we need. I keep calling it a grindstone. I mean millstone. Millstone is what I mean. And that should grind it to flour, and we'll take that to a mixing bowl. Because now that we're not going to be doing the silken tofu, we're going to be using eggs instead. We'll be able to do this much, much simpler. So we'll need the sugar, which we'll get from sugarcane, cinder flour, and applesauce, or any enumerations of eggs, which we are going to do the chicken eggs. And then we're going to compact that in a basin with a mechanical press. So let's get those 2 items out and ready and get some testing done. Perfect. Although I kind of think I want to move all of this machinery over to this area, towards the wall, rather than towards the center. Yes, we'll pull these into different directions as we move along. But now we have 2 things for our factory, and I am so excited. This is so much... this is very interesting to look at, isn't it? It's straight up. This is going 1,000,000 miles per hour, but that will be something that will change as we go along. Like I've said, I am so excited to get that moving. Ooh, and we are running out of oak logs quickly, so we will have to get those cake bases filled out, and then probably move this whole beast into this somewhere. And then we'll gather the lava from that, from the front, or from the side, or something. Yes. We'll make it look nice soon. We'll make it look nice soon, but first, we'll have to make it work. And there we are, the machine. This side of the machine, at least, is altered so that the slowdown is in the back. And I know that I could use a rotational speed controller, but I'm not gonna lie, I really like the way the dangling gears looks so far. And look, we're starting to get cinder flower. Well, in a second. It's crushing up netherrack right now. And there we are, cinder flower, yay! All right, next up, getting this machine to look better than what it did. And there we are. Now we'll just need to get all of the stuff, the cinder flower, the eggs, and the sugar into this basin. Give me the blaze cake base, thank you. Yes! And I'm going to give this to my mechanical arm. And it turned it blue! It's superheated now. And it will give us that much more power to be running things over here. Wonderful, we're getting consistent blaze cake bases over here. So, I'm going to grab my lava train and move some things around with that portion. We'll use this train to deliver the blaze cakes all over this area. But I will still want this to be moved. There we are. So we've got all of this whole factory running off of that very small, but highly powered steam engine so far. Let's shift things over, though. Who do you think you are? I didn't do anything to you. Excuse me? Don't try to kill me, I didn't do anything. Right, so now we have the lava pickup and distribution into the blaze cakes at the other side. So now we're going to pick up a whole bunch of lava, and then we're going to go back, make a train station to deliver that, and pick up the blaze cake bases. Or actually, pick up the blaze cakes entirely, and then we'll deliver them to the steam engine on the other side. And that's pumping into there. And now we're getting blaze cake bases. Or blaze cakes. Full blaze cakes made from this factory. Cleaned up this side a little bit. And there we are. Now we have the blaze cakes being delivered. I'll need to fill up this blaze cake base. Ooh, that is going fast. And next time, we're going to upgrade this to where it's a level 9 boiler. We're going to need to pull it out and make more. And go as hard as we can. But right now, I mean, look at all of this. It is all working. And we're going to be using this heart to power so many things. It's going to have the power to do so. A tree grew in front of my things. No. No, no, no. No, 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 no. This needs to be staying this way. So let me give you kind of a tour. Of course, it's pretty easy to figure out this farm. This farm is getting sugar. And it's being millstoned back here and delivered into our basin that's going to be compacting. We're getting lava delivered from the nether directly to that big old tank. And this nether essence is being assembled, then crushed into cinder flour, which is joining here. And then the magnum opus of the insanity is that I've got a bunch of chickens. But I have some encased fans blowing any eggs that they may lay up here onto the belt. Hopefully that'll work out the way I want it to. And that portion is being powered, and some of these belts, actually, is being powered by this water wheel. Because there was a certain point where that could not handle it. Now I bet it can handle it. But look at our blaze cakes all lined out. Look at that! Which will feed it. And these should stay going for quite a while. The thing that is going to probably cause a little bit of issues will be the chickens. Anyway, with all of that massive machinery, our train, and our big ol' heart of the city that's going to be much bigger and nicer when we're done with it, that is all we have time for today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.